On the surface, this was just another FA Cup match, a Premier League giant up against a feisty lower league side. But for one player, this game, well, it was everything. We're going to dive into the story of how a single 90-minute performance can completely change a season and maybe even a career. So let's get into it.
So here's the big question, right? We've all heard the cliches about season-defining moments. But can one game, on one chilly afternoon, really turn everything around for a player who's under a ton of pressure? That's the question we're going to explore today, looking at one of Arsenal's brightest, but at the time, struggling talents. The FA Cup. It's where dreams are made and, of course, where giants can fall. Arsenal, a Premier League powerhouse, was heading into a real lion's den at Fratton Park, a stadium famous for its wild, intimidating atmosphere. The stage was absolutely set for a classic upset. Get this, 10 changes. That's almost a completely different team. Manager Mikel Arteta was seriously rolling the dice, putting his faith in a mix of young players and squad members who needed some game time. And with 20,000 passionate Portsmouth fans making a wall of sound, you could just feel the odds stacking up against them. The tension was palpable. And bam, 3 minutes in, the upset is well and truly on. Colby Bishop scores and Fratton Park just explodes. I mean, what a nightmare start for this makeshift Arsenal side. But then, just 5 minutes later, a moment of pure luck, an own goal, and somehow they're back in it. The game was tied, but the message was loud and clear. This was not going to be an easy day for the Gunners.
So in the middle of all that chaos, with the game really hanging in the balance, one player had the chance to completely rewrite the story. And this is where our focus shifts to a young talent who was carrying a whole lot of expectation on his shoulders. Gabriel Martinelli. See, Martinelli wasn't just playing for a win in the FA Cup. He was playing for his place in the team. After a string of performances that just weren't up to his standard and facing a ton of public criticism, he'd actually been dropped from the regular starting lineup. This game was his chance to prove everybody wrong. It was really a tale of two completely different seasons for him. In the Champions League, he was a goal-scoring machine, but in the Premier League, he was struggling to find that same rhythm. The talent was obviously there, no one denied that, but the big question was, could he deliver when it mattered most on the domestic stage? All right, so this is the turning point. Under all that pressure in a hostile stadium, and with his team kind of scrambling to find their footing, how would Martinelli respond? Well, he answered with a performance that would silence the critics and let him take total control of the match. So, it's the 25th minute. A corner comes in from Noni Madueke. Just perfectly delivered. Martinelli makes this clever, quick run towards the near post. A deft little flick, and the ball is in the back of the net. It was a moment of pure class that not only put Arsenal ahead, but it gave the whole team a much-needed chance to just breathe. And believe me, he was just getting started. The guy was everywhere, just a live wire for Arsenal's attack. He was creating chances, he hit the woodwork, he was driving the team forward. Even a missed penalty from a teammate couldn't kill the momentum that Martinelli was building pretty much all by himself. One goal is a good start. 2 is pretty impressive. But a hat-trick? That's something special. This is the moment Martinelli turns a really solid performance into an absolutely unforgettable one and puts his name all over this game. 3 goals. Just 3. For a player who walked onto that pitch with a huge cloud of criticism hanging over him, there is no better, no more definitive way to answer back. This was a statement to his manager, to the fans, to everyone. And just look at the timing of these goals. Each one was like a dagger to Portsmouth's hopes. He scores to take the lead when the pressure's on. He scores again early in the second half to create some breathing room, and then a third to just put the game away for good. This was a total masterclass in clinical finishing. The fans knew it, the stats proved it. With an incredible 8.13 rating from the supporters, Martinelli was, without a doubt, the player of the match. On a day that was filled with so much tension and uncertainty, the hero of the day had been officially crowned. So Martinelli's personal redemption story was complete. But this big 4-1 victory was about more than just one player. It was actually a really crucial moment for Arsenal's bigger ambitions for the rest of the season. So let's zoom out and look at that bigger picture. After that early scare, Arsenal really did take complete control. With over 61% of the possession, they just dictated the tempo of the game and cruised to a pretty comfortable win in the end. Martinelli's goals were the spark for that dominant performance. They settled the team down and let all their quality shine through.
This victory was basically a manager's dream. It proved the strength and depth of the squad. It allowed for the welcome return of a key forward like Kai Havertz from injury, and it even made a little bit of history with a new youth record being set.
Yeah, it was a perfect day at the office for Mikel Arteta. And this was more than just a cup win. You have to think of it as a launch pad. Arsenal was about to face this brutal stretch of away games in 4 different competitions. This victory, fueled by Martinelli's amazing comeback performance, was the absolute perfect start to a really critical part of their season. And that brings us right back to our original question. Can one game define a season? For Gabriel Martinelli, this hat-trick was so much more than just 3 goals. It was a declaration of intent. But was it just a fleeting moment of brilliance, or was this the spark that would truly reignite his season? Well, only time would tell.